So the recent election results. Wow. I think it's fair to say they caught a lot of people off guard.
Definitely. Yeah, lots of surprise out there.
And now everyone's asking, what happens next? What's the direction for the U.S. government?
Exactly.
So we thought, let's give you a shortcut, a way to really get a handle on things quickly.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive today into the immediate aftermath. Basically, our mission is to unpack the key appointments, look at the policy directions taking shape, and gauge those initial reactions.
Precisely. We want to pull out the most important bits from what we know so far, help you understand the sort of foundational elements of this new administration.
Yeah, get past the headlines.
Get past the headlines, grasp the strategy, what it all implies.
Okay, let's jump in. The new administration, how's it taking shape right after the election?
Well, it's moving fast.
It always seems like a critical time, doesn't it?
Oh.
Choosing who runs things.
Absolutely. And the incoming president is making those calls quickly, filling key government posts.
And what's interesting, I think, is this mix. You see some familiar people coming back, but also some totally new faces stepping up.
That's a key point from the sources, the speed, but also that mix. You see Stephen Miller, for example. His return points pretty clearly towards, well, a certain direction on domestic issues, immigration, perhaps.
Right. A known quantity there.
A known quantity. And then there's all this talk about who might be the new Secretary of State.
Yes.
The sources mention this person has strong opinions about other countries. That's the quote.
Strong opinions. That definitely signals something about foreign policy, doesn't it?
It suggests a potentially more, let's say, assertive stance.
Yeah.
Maybe more protectionist. It could really shake up existing international ties.
And that focus on foreign policy, it leads us right into the bigger picture, the policy direction overall. We're hearing very clearly this intention to be very firm with China.
Yeah, that's come through loud and clear.
How big a deal is that? What are the potential ripples?
Well, it sounds like more than just talk. It could mean, seriously looking again at trade deals, maybe global supply chains, that sort of thing.
Okay. And domestically?
Domestically, there's talk about making the U.S. safer. That's the stated goal.
Which often connects to.
Exactly. It seems closely tied to potential new rules for immigration. The sources specifically mention aiming for stricter rules at the border again.
So, likely some big operational shifts?
Yeah.
Maybe legal fights down the road?
Could be. It suggests a real change in approach compared to what we've seen recently.
And the economy. That's always front and center.
Always. The aim mentioned is to reduce rules for businesses, deregulation, and the promise to create more jobs for Americans.
Sounds like a push for growth. Pure and simple? Or is it more complicated?
It's definitely presented as pro-growth, but our sources show that nuance. While some see deregulation as great for the economy, for jobs,
There's a but.
there's a but. Others worry, quite strongly actually, that it could harm the environment. That's a direct concern mentioned.
So a classic trade-off. Economy versus environment.
It highlights that tension, yeah. And that could be where we see major fights, especially around environmental rules, energy policy, that kind of thing.
Okay, so you've got these appointments, these policy signals.
Huh.
How are people reacting? What's the mood?
Well, no surprise, Trump supporters seem pretty happy. Lots of approval there.
Right. But what else?
Beyond that base, there's definitely concern. Critics are voicing real worry. They're saying these early moves might divide the country more.
That division again.
And it's not just the public. Look at the news media. It seems split, too.
How so?
You see some outlets being very careful, sticking strictly to factual reporting. Others are, well, more obviously supportive, or conversely, quite critical right out of the gate.
So the media landscape kind of mirrors the public division.
It reflects it, maybe even amplifies it sometimes. It's part of the dynamic.
So for you listening, something really crucial to watch going forward is Congress, the lawmakers.
Absolutely critical.
Will they get behind these plans or push back? Their role is going to be huge in terms of what actually gets done.
And that's the fascinating part, isn't it? How all these pieces connect. The specific people chosen, the policies they want, how the public and media react, and then what Congress does.
It's all interconnected.
Deeply, they all influence each other, which leads to a really important question for you to think about. As all this unfolds, how might this whole interplay change the way governing works, the way political conversations happen in the U.S.?
It's certainly going to be an interesting time to watch, no doubt about that.
Indeed. And maybe a final thought to leave you with. What's the long-term effect? When you see such strong, divided reactions to a new administration right from the start, what does that do to the idea of division itself within the country? Something worth mulling over.